Previously, in a Harry Potter world where magic is regarded as a blessing, Mash was born without magic, and those who lacked magic were killed by the Magic Bureau. As a result, one of the officers named Bard discovered Mash, but Mash completely trashed him, so he offered Mash the opportunity to become a divine visionary in the Magic Academy, and if he did so, the world would accept him because the divine visionary is a title bestowed upon the best student who is regarded as a chosen one by the gods. So, in order to live his life with his father, Mash accepted his offer and enrolled in the Magic Academy. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe and like it. So Mash passed the entrance exam in his own unique way and was admitted to the academy, where the lecturer was teaching the students how to ride a broom, just like Harry Potter. Well, a moment of silence because Mash can't use magic, so he can't fly a broom anyway. But then one of the students became competitive with Mash after seeing how he aced the entrance exam while still being unable to command a broom. So Mash just commanded it in his own style and it was an obvious cheating, so to become a center, he challenges Mash to a broomstick race to raise his nose higher, but for this race, Mash just broke the world record in the broomstick race, but Finn saw that Mash just threw the stick first and jumped on it to finish the race in an instant. That guy can't believe he was beaten at his own game and starts accusing Mash of cheating, but then the real game player appears from the background. His name is Lloyd Cavil. But it sounded like cabbage. Well, Teach showed up so he left for now, but it's clear that Lloyd is targeting Mash. It was all part of his plan to make a fool of him. And now that his minion has failed, Lloyd has really beaten the crap out of him. Finn warns Mash that he's bad news. His father is a high-ranking officer at the Magic Bureau, so he gets away with anything. And the vice principal also supports him and expels any student who opposes Lloyd, but even after that, they torment that guy's family, which is why everyone is afraid of Lloyd. But it all goes over his head for Mash, and he simply bakes his favorite cream puff. The bullying began when Mash discovered his book torn apart. Lloyd heard about Mash's desire to be a divine visionary and offered his connection to assist him, but in exchange, Mash had to obey his every order like a servant. Even after that, his textbooks were getting ripped up and Finn was looking uneasy, but Mash said some heartfelt words to him as if he were his best friend, which made his guilty conscience act up. Then, on the corridor, Lloyd spills his drink and orders Mash to clean it up, which he does as usual, and away from there, Lloyd begins to beat up Finn because he refuses to backstab Mash any longer. Well, he was the one who was tearing up Mash's textbook on Lloyd's order to bully Mash, and now Lloyd has some serious problems, that Mash notices everything. He mercilessly stumped Lloyd's face in the ground to punish him for his actions against Finn, and the principal saw only that Mash beat up Lloyd. For that, he was about to expel him, but Mash doesn't care because he thrased him as well, and now, for this incident, the headmaster, or I'd say Mr. Dumbledore, received an official complaint from the Magic Bureau stating that Mash should be expelled immediately. But he was pleased with what Mash had done to them, so he took care of things on his end and resolved the issue. He himself is hoping for Mash to be a divine visionary, but just a bit of information and Mash was completely bored. So the headmaster cuts to the chase and tells him to earn gold coins in order to become a divine visionary. The next day, Lloyd and the vice principal received a shock in their hearts, and Mash was recognized by other students. Hearing this, Tom of the Duello team invites Mash to join his team, the Harry Potter game. Well, the only problem is that Mash can't ride the broom. But this match resembles Gryffindor versus Slytherin. But it's the Adler dorm versus the Lang dorm, and Mash was on the Adler side, and Tom was encouraging him to start playing, but then Lang Drum started playing dirty by intentionally injuring Tom. After that, their score increased, and Moss couldn't stand it any longer, so he jumped into the air with a broom and began flying. But he was actually moving his legs so fast that he was able to maintain his flight. Mash took the ball and hit the goal, but he used a curveball to get it back, and then Mash hit the bullseye again and again, setting a new world record in Duello. For that, Mash received another silver coin, and Tom unexpectedly hugged him in awe-inspiring play. After Duello, Tom and Irvine began fawning over Mash. She simply loved Mash, with one wanting to start practicing Durlo and the other wanting to teach Mash about magic and other things, and seeing them, Finn chose to ignore them. But then Lance Crown arrives to challenge Mash. In this world only a few people have 2 magical marks, making them rare and powerful magicians. Lance trapped Finn, Tom, and Irvine in a bottle to lure out Mash in the forest. There he offers a match betting their silver coin. Mash doesn't have a choice as his weakness is in his hands. Lance had his eyes on Mash from the entrance exam and sought his overwhelming power. So as the duel started, Lance used a gravity spell right away, and it had such a powerful impact that it destroyed the surrounding area while having no effect on Mash. He then tried to attack, but Lance used the same attack again, and Mash was completely immobilized. But then lying down Mash made an opening with a tree root and subdued his spell, but Lance casted it again, but this time Mash stayed on his feet to attack Lance. But in his attack Mash snatched his locket from his neck, which had a photo of a little girl, so Mash assumed Lance had a lowly complex. But he made it clear that he has a sister complex, not a lowly complex. When Lance asked a simple question of which is the most important thing in the world, Mash answered quite a few, but it was all wrong in his eyes because the most important thing is his little sister. So Lance was about to drop the bottle off a cliff using gravity magic to accelerate its fall. Lance also wants to be a divine visionary, and the only one standing in his way is Mash. Because of his little sister, she was pretty cute little sis. But she caught a disease that was draining her of her magic, and once that happened, her own parents considered turning her over to the Magic Bureau so that they could kill her. Lance can't take it and decides to become a divine visionary with the power in the Magical Bureau to save his little sister, but sadly, just as Lance was about to drop the bottle, Mash was also ready to save his friends as he dashed down the cliff and brought the bottle back. The fact that the bottle that fell was empty from the start and the real one was with Lance indicates that he wasn't a bad guy. But a bet is a bet, and Lance handed him his silver coin, but he was even more determined not to lose again for the sake of his sister. So that's all for today, but stay tuned for the next part, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to get the latest updates on more recently aired anime recaps.